Hello everyone. So today we are going to work on this mouse settings, how to invert the mouse axis and how to change the sensitivity of mouse X and mouse Y. So let me enable the inversion and speed up the X sensitivity and Y sensitivity and apply. Go back. Now when I play the game, you can see it's quite fast and mouse is also inverted. Right, so if I go again, gameplay settings, and if I reset to default, you can see X sensitivity and Y sensitivity is in the middle and invert mouse Y axis is disabled. Let's apply, go back and continue the game. You can see now in usual values. Okay, so let's see how to implement this today. And this episode is sponsored by these generous patrons. Thank you very much for the support. Okay, so this is what we have at the moment. We have, when we go to the settings, we have graphics option, display, audio, all of them are working, and we have also implemented the UI for the gameplay options. Now we are going to implement these mouse settings. So when I enable or disable this, how to make it actually affect the gameplay, right? So for that, let's go to our game instance. This is where I have defined the save gameplay options event thing would. Alright, then here let's get started with this invert mouse axis option. Now let's collapse this. So that we can implement the actual setting of the axis values here. Right, let's call it save game object, no, SV options. That should be clear enough. Right, now we can get input settings. Here we can get axis mapping by name. So if I go to the project settings under input, this lookup, this is what's relevant to mouse Y axis. Right, so actually not just the invert part, we also need to consider here the mouse Y sensitivity as well. Okay, so let me expand this for a moment. Cut this for now. No need to cut. Let's keep it like this, and I'll interchange these two. So that we can collapse these both into a same subnode. Mouse Y settings. Okay, now let's clean it up a little bit. Target is this one, we don't need self 2, and I'll name this SV options. Let's move it up. Alright, now it looks clean here, and let's break this. Great, and now we have this part already. So here from this we can access the here I'm only interested in this lookup because that's what related to mouse Y. As the axis name, I'm going to give lookup, so this will return all the mappings for lookup axis. Let's promote this to a variable. Oh wait, it would be better, instead of just collapsing this part into a subnode, it would be better if we collapse this into a function, turn this into a function, right? Let's call it mouse Y settings. Mouse Y update. Okay, now we can actually expand this here. Right, now let's promote this to a local variable so that we don't have additional variables as in the global level, so it's better to keep the code clean and less complex. Okay, lookup mappings. Let's promote this to a variable, and then here let's run a for each loop. And set member and input key mapping. Here let's expose the scale of the axis. So as you can see here, the mouse Y scale is -1, and obviously if we have controller support we have to consider that part as well, but here I don't have any controller support, so therefore this only using this considering the mouse is okay. So this scale, if this is in the normal mode, that means if the mouse is not inverted, this should be -1. That's what we have by default. When we move the mouse forward it looks up, when we move the mouse backward it looks down. That's what happens at the moment. But if we need to invert, we can actually get the mouse Y sensitivity and multiply it by +1, -1 or +1 based on this invert axis value here. So if this is if we need to invert, we should keep this value as 1. If we don't need to invert, this should be -1. Right, then how do we set this updated mapping into our input settings? So for that, let's again get input settings and axis mapping. So here we have remove axis mapping. Let's call it, and as the key mapping, make Oh wait, no, we can call remove axis mapping here, and as the key mapping we can use this option, this element. Then once everything is done, we can again call add axis mapping, and again add this element. So oh wait a minute, I think we need to interchange these two nodes, otherwise it could be different, not sure. Right, then add it here, the updated option, updated reference. Right, now the y-axis sensitivity and inversion should work. Shall we test? Right, if I just play the game, you can see, if I just go here, at the moment, let me first disable this and apply, go back, continue. So it works in the usual way. When I move my mouse forward, character looks up. When I move the mouse backward, I look down. So if I now again go to the gameplay and invert mouse y-axis, if I enable it, apply, go back, game, continue, now this is inverted. When I move the mouse forward, I look down. When I move back, looks up. Okay, so that's working. And also let's check the sensitivity as well. What if I pull it like this, go back, game, continue? So it's actually 0, so that's why I can't either look up or down. Okay, so we need to prevent that. We need to clamp this between, let's say, 0.1. Oh wait, I didn't change any settings, and apply. Apply, back, game, continue. So now it's very slow, but I can look up and down. Alright, now in the same way, let's update mouse X as well. How? We can do the same thing. Let's collapse this to a function. Mouse X update. SV options. Here also we can use this turn. This is what we need now. Turn axis. Get input settings. Get axis mapping by name. Turn for each mapping. Element remove, no, here remove axis mapping first, give this as the reference, and then set members in key mapping. As the member, I want to set the scale. So scale is mouse X sensitivity. Here also let's first clamp this between, wait a minute, let me check what are the values we can get here. Widget, gameplay options, option slider. Here we can define a range actually. Yeah, I think it would be better if we set the values here. We have initialize option. No need to change here. We can do something like this. So in order to support higher values, we can multiply this by 2 and feed in here, and I'll set the max value as 2. I think we should do that for the mouse Y update as well. And instead of clamping here, let's clamp here. No, we have another problem. If we do that, when we load the settings again into the UI, if we have something larger than value 1, 1.2 or something, it will show as the max value of the slider. So therefore, yeah, it would be better if I keep the clamp in here. Right, let's do the same change here as well. We can set the scale this way. Minimum value is 0.1. When the mouse slider is in the middle, that means the normal speed, which is 1, normal scale, which is 1. Right, now add axis mapping. New mapping. Right, now let's check. Go to game, go to settings, gameplay, mouse Y sensitivity, I put it in the middle. X sensitivity, let's make it faster. Wait, X is 0 for some reason, I can't turn. Let's check why. Alright, I think we should promote this to a variable before running a for each loop. Turn settings. Let's apply and see now. Still no. Why is that? Alright, so since I ran this code without actually having this add axis mapping part, I think this turn is now gone here. So let me add it again. Oh, no, 6 scale is 1. Okay, now it's pretty fast. Let me slow it down and let's disable the inversion. Right now it's very slow. See, right, so the system is working. Let me change it back to default values. Apply. Right, now it works as usual. Right, so we can stop this episode right here, and we have some other options like this aim in mode, auto reload, difficulty, but those things are usually tied with the actual implementation of the game. So I don't think there is a generic way like this mouse axis or mouse y-axis settings or inversion settings that we can implement. So I'm gonna just leave them only for the UI for the moment. So later on, when we have some shooting mechanisms or some difficulty setting mechanism, I'm gonna implement them. So yeah, so now yeah, we can finish the gameplay options, and next, for the next part, we can look into how to do the key configurations. And thanks for watching. So as always, project files will be available for the download through Patreon page. Link would be in the description below. And if you like to support my work, you can get the membership of the Patreon club. See you in another episode. Goodbye.